are you doing?
Good. Hello, partner. I just love her all over here.
No, now that we know her point.
I know, right? I know how to do it now. So
you're left and my
right. Welcome everybody out there to the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and my amazing partner, Jen. Welcome. Yes. So today we've got an interesting topic. It really is. So how's it going for you this week, Jen?
Yeah, it's been great. Except for the conversation we had before we went live. It's been great. I felt like yesterday was such a huge breakthrough because there was something technical that Summer and I were working on. And it was like one of those things like, oh, this is so frustrating when you deal with tech. And then we figured it out and it was just like, yes!
It was so great.
So freaking happy.
This one over here took on something that on Friday night, I was like, and I know my strengths. I know what I'm not the greatest at. And I still try and work through those things. I've been something to I can do this. Friday night, I'm up till 11, I'm up till 12, trying to work this out. I can't get it. I can't wrap my head around it. It was like geometry for me. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So I tell Jen, and here's the thing. It's not a control thing. It's more like I don't want her to have to take on one more responsibility, right? So
I feel that way about you. I don't want her to do more things. You're right. He writes all our copies.
This is what's so nice about us. We are really thoughtful towards each other. Yes. So we really try and balance out like who does what, because there are a lot of things to do when you're running your own business. But this one over here, I said, I have to give it up, girl. And she's like, give it to me. And I know it was on. She's like me. We're both Aries. We both have this stuff that sits in the back of our head. Like, we got to do this. And until it's done, it's like, it's still there. And she's like, I have got to get this done and taken care of it. And yesterday she managed to solve the problem. And I was like, yes,
I was like, Merry Christmas. I love you. We're done.
I know. And I was like, she really did. She said, Merry Christmas.
My ultimate goal. And so side note, what's so funny is that in our Facebook collective group, if you are not already in there and you want to be a part of that, make sure to join that. And, there was a post that Summer had created and it was about, I forgot what the question was, but I remember it was something about goals or what is your intention for the day or something like that. Right. And I remember simply figure out this thing. Right. And so it was like this morning, I think I went back to it and I was like, oh my gosh, like the power of intention, the power of setting your mind. And I mean, I know this crap can sound so cliche, right? Put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. No, but for real, that crap is for real. Like it really works.
So here's the thing. Let me interject here for a second. It's real. Set your mind to it, and then get your butt into action. That's all I gotta say, because the mindset, the action, the intention is real. It's real, and it'll bring those goals to fruition.
I was so excited. I mean, it was like, it took me like right up until the early evening before I had to leave. And I was like, we did it, girl. We did it. Oh we set the intention to get this thing done. I was like,
I know. It was so great.
So happy. So, I mean, literally that was like probably the highlight of my week because, you guys might have
by doing that, it just opens up. So what she figured out for us really opens up so many things for us. So
excited. So that was like yesterday was great. So yeah, every this week has been amazing. It's like just being able to wake up and just excited every day is such a blessing.
Yeah.
And then getting to work with this one every day, it's like it's so fun. It is so fun. And I wish everybody could experience that at some point in your life where you're excited about the work you do. It's fun. And, I was just having this conversation literally last night, Summer. It was like, it's not always about the money. I'd rather people be happy.
Yeah.
And take a cut or find something that brings you joy. You're happy. You're thriving. It's healthy.
Yeah.
than to be in something that like, yeah, woohoo, you make $500,000.
Yeah.
If you're freaking dying, miserable, you have nothing that you don't even have time to do the things that bring you joy. It's like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
Because what are you gonna have come along with all that? Health issues, stress, all kinds of problems. And so I'm just like, I just think that's so important, especially this topic that we're talking about today. It's so important for people to realize we always talk about core values, but if you don't know what those are, you're not going to be able to make your decisions from a place that really serves you well.
True that. And what you've talked about kind of rolls us into what the topic is today. So let's talk about this, because this is really important. I love what you said, Jen, and it was a good segue into the subject matter here and the question. So the subject is, are you a workaholic? And the question actually is that we received. And here's the thing, folks, and I'm going to put this out there every week. We are here for you. We love doing this. We were just on IG, Instagram, and we get such a high doing that show over there because we have so much participation. We have so much input, and it is so much fun. And we dance in and we dance out of there. It's such a great time. We want it to be fun for you here too as well. And we want to answer your questions. So please DM us your questions, whether or not they're life, love, money, or emerging entrepreneur questions. We want to answer those questions for you. If we don't have an answer, Jen and I will find something for you, a resource for you. Trust me, we're researchers. We will find something for you. All right, so let me get into this question. I work a lot of hours every day and many times into the night. I have family that is always telling me to rest, take time off, focus on things other than work, but I love what I do. So how do I get them to understand that I'm passionate about my business and work, and it just doesn't feel like work? So So I'm going to jump right into this, Jen, okay?
Yes, go for it.
All right, because I want to give kind of a foundational perspective about what we're talking here. And there is a difference between being a holic, somebody who's a holic, versus somebody that loves their job, what they're doing, and works a lot of hours. So many people might say, or professionals might term an aholic someone as being addicted to something. And in this case, it would be a workaholic, right? And then many professionals would also define this as working long hours and working excessively, not so much the hours, but working excessively and compulsively, where it is impacting your thoughts, your sleep, your everything. Well, where it's impacting your functioning, your everyday functioning in a negative way. And it's overwhelming for you. And that really is something that you need to consider. If you're working long hours, you're not happy with what you're doing, that you continue to push yourself, you're miserable, you're retreating, you're going inward into yourself and just saying, I just am miserable. Now, that's somebody that might have something to think about. So what I'm going to go down, if this is in fact a aholic type of situation, an addiction of sorts. To break addictions of any kind, you first want to be able to recognize that you have a problem, that it is an issue for you. And then the next step is to be willing to do something about it. If you're ready to do something about it, the next step is identify your triggers, identify unhealthy behavior patterns, understand what they are, understand what you're being triggered by. Be ready to seek therapeutic help let me take a step back here. Therapeutic help in an in or outpatient basis, depending on what your therapist or the person that you're seeking help from suggests. Be ready to do that. Understand your unresolved issues. What's going on? What are you trying to really push away, not face, not confront by doing all of this work, being compulsive, having this overwhelm your entire life? Because there's something that you're really pushing away, that you're really not wanting to face and identify. Do you understand your social skills and how you relate to the world? Because those social skills and how you relate to the world can be contributing to either good or negative behavior. So it may be contributing to the aholic part of this problem, right? Of this issue. And then start integrating health habits into your routine that will lend to change changing behavior. Because really, we talked about this on the last show. It's not so much just about, I work long hours, I am passionate. It's how are you taking care of yourself in all of this? Whether it's an alcoholic problem or whether it's your passionate working long hours, how are you taking care of yourself? And then what you're going to do is learn new behaviors. Once you learn new healthy behaviors, you're going to continue to use those behaviors instead of the other previous behaviors, because those are going to become the habits, the habitual patterns of behavior that you want to learn, those healthy patterns, so to speak. And then you're going to create a healthy support system around you, because I know even with me, and I love what I do. I love working with this woman. I love working long hours. I don't mind it, like at all. I don't mind. There are times when I do get tired and I will take a retreat and say, I need a break. I need a break. I need to take some time for myself. I know that Jen feels the same way. She takes time for herself when she needs to. I know that we have that balance. And a lot of times I don't like to use the word balance because we can.
I know, it's cringy. It's a cringy word.
I know.
That's the thing I do love about us. It's like,
yes.
I love when Summer messaged me, I'm taking a day tomorrow. I'm like, go girl, go. Yeah. And I love that we have that dynamic, because we respect and honor that space for one another. And it's like, do it. And sometimes we have to tell each other, take it.
Do it.
It's like, put it down. Don't do it. Like, don't message. It's funny because it's funny because in a world where most people are trying to get a response and update from other people, we have the opposite issue. Don't answer back.
Don't answer it. Don't. It's like,
don't answer back. Go to sleep. Go on your trip. I will talk to you Sunday, or whatever the case may be. It's just funny. It's like we have but I love that. I love that we practice this. Everything that she's saying, we do practice this, because we know what it's like to feel that burnout, and sometimes it's not even the burnout. It's like we're very aware of what it could end up being, which is why we are so good. I have to brag about that. We are so good about taking that time and that day. We don't want to get to the point where it's like, man, I'm just completely depleted. It's like we have that beautiful understanding that we have to take that day off. And sometimes it's just a few hours on like a weekend, one of the weekend days. And it's like, go. Well, the work, here's the thing, the way I always look at it, the work will always be there. Your body is going to break up, but the work will always be there. So it's okay. Give yourself that freaking permission.
Yeah, I love that. Like Jen said, give yourself the permission. And it's funny because Jen and I kind of have these. I take one of the weekend days. She takes maybe a little bit of a weekend day and maybe like a Thursday night. And, so like we integrate that into our week. And it's kind of woven into our pattern of behavior. And it's something that really nurtures and meets our wellness. And that is what's so critical here. So I'm going to continue down this list. So here's a really kicker for me, like a big kicker. It's like create a healthy support system around you. Because remember, who you're getting this advice from or who's telling you what, they may not be walking in your shoes. They may not be walking and knowing what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, to own your own business, what this takes, what energy, hours, all of that. It's not to say that you don't want to take into consideration maybe what they're saying and you're going to still love them, but maybe they don't have an idea of what it looks like and how many hours you actually have to put in to make that business thrive, especially when it's something that you've wholly created. It's not like you're even going into a structure and you're saying, okay, I'm going to own my own business, but this is under the umbrella of. It's more along the lines, this is our separate entities. We are emerging entrepreneurs. This is going to take some time. And remember, even as emerging entrepreneurs, know that the work, yes, as Jen said, it's always going to be there, but it is going to take some time, but it does take some hours. So to meet those goals. So remember where you're getting your advice from and create that system of support that really can help you, because sometimes sometimes you are working long hours where you need to do a little introspection. And here's the other end of this, right? You need to do a little introspection, and you might be, your process might not be as efficient as you would like it to be. where it's consuming too much of your time because you're not as efficient as you could be. So that network of support is going to help you, because that's going to give you ideas. If you're surrounded by other emerging entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who have been in the business for a while, you're going to be able to talk to those people and say, what's your strategy? How many hours do you work a week? How do you do that? What does your time frame look like? What are the things you're doing in regards to marketing, scaling, all these different things, copywriting, all these various things, working with your clients? How do you allot your time? What does that look like for you? And that's why I'm saying surround yourself by people who know what you're doing, who have an understanding of what you're doing, so you can really gain some wisdom from them. And I think that's so critical. So that in itself, to me, is one of the most important. Even if you have an alcoholic issue, those people are going to serve as mentors. Those people are going to serve as sponsors. We're going to be able to tap into them. And like for Jen and I, we have each other as well as our other, smaller network of support, where we can look at our other friends and say, oh, okay, look how they're doing it, or look the way their process looks. And then Jen and I, we are immediate, we're like immediate family members, right? So we have each other immediately. We're on the phone, we're on WhatsApp, we're on how do I do this? So if I have to give something over to Jen, like for instance, that IT techie stuff to this week, then I'm going to say, hey, listen, hon, I tried this for hours. Do you mind taking over? And she was like, no problem. I know this is a headache. This is going to be a headache for me, but I'm going to do this. We're going to work this out. And sure enough, I was going to say something else. Sure enough.
Yeah, we got it done. We got it done. I mean, that level of intention and determination, I was like, F it, man. I don't care what happens, but at the end of the day, this is getting bigger. I mean, that's how I woke up. Yeah. That's how I woke up. I was like, it's like that dark cloud. Oh. It doesn't have to, it would be big or small, but I know all of us have either that thing that's looming over us that you want to figure out, and it's like until you do, there's this unsettling within you, within your being. And for me, it was this tech thing. So I was like, I told her that I'm dead. I don't care what it takes. I'm doing this.
Oh,
I mean, and then I went crazy. I went crazy because not only did I figure that part out, then I updated our website and everything. I was like, we're all systems go.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was so great. And we have our strengths. That's just not one of my strengths. And I know it. And I told her, I said, this is the greatest thing about your network and your system of support. And like I said, she's like the immediate family member. She's my partner. Right. And so I can go, I have banging my head against the wall about this. I've been on the computer forever going through these various things and I don't get it. I'm a person who needs 1, 2, 3, da, 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 da. And she can visualize okay, this is linking to this. This is linking to that. That's not me. That's just
but know your strengths and weaknesses.
I am serious because
I definitely know mine.
Because I was like, I will get on the phone with a bunch of people and be like, hey, how do you do this? But she's like, no, we got this. And I was like, okay. And she did it and she worked it out. And so, I love that. I love that about partnership because even let's say she doesn't have time to do something. I'll know that and go, okay, you know what? I'm going to do most of this. I'm going to pass it on to you. And that's why, she does this beautiful graphics. And a lot of times she's like that, that beautiful, what did you call it? Gave the example that interior designer. And she'll put the if I create the copy, she'll make it look great. And I was like, okay,
there's a construction worker, you lay down the foundation.
Yeah.
If you don't have that foundation, it's just gonna all fall apart. And I'm like, well, I'll just come in and be the interior designer and make it all. I work with another team, and literally the joke is that just give it to her and she'll prettify it. That's not even a word.
Yeah.
Prettify it. I'm like, okay, just give me like an order taker. Just tell me what you want. Let me make it happen.
See, that is so great. Especially for Aries, it's to find that in an Aries, it's like to like,
you ain't gonna find that.
You rarely find that. It's like, no, I'm going to take charge. And here's the thing. Yeah. I will let her take charge of to beautify things, to prettify things, right? Yeah. So it's like, I will sit down at this computer and write copy and articles and do all that stuff and just be like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's out, review it, blah, blah, blah. Let's go. Let's do this. And then she'll make it pretty and she'll make the graphic. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And you know, it's so funny because some of you might think like, okay, what's this got to do with the topic? But it has absolutely everything to do with this topic about being a workaholic, because you need to figure out if you are a workaholic, and like Summer has talked about, there are going to be these levels where is it that you're engaged and you love it, or is it that you're escaping? You know, there is a difference. And the thing that I love about, we work extremely hard. We work a lot of hours, but we're very passionate about it. And that's the difference. And so the thing too is, have you figured out the structure that works for you, where you can still thrive, where you still feel healthy? You don't feel like you're depleted of energy. You don't ever want to get into a place where you're starting to freaking hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I love that we have found this like balance of, you know, we both know our strengths and we both have that respect for one another. Like, just give it to me. Okay, let me give it to you, or I'll take care of this part. And it's like, you got to be able to find that, whether it's with a partner or just within yourself. And if it's just by yourself, then learning how to relinquish the control is going to be an important lesson that you have got to learn.
Yes.
You got to, because you can't, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you are not, listen to me, you are not going to be able to scale if you're trying to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
You are not going to be able to scale. And at some point, if you want it to grow, you can only book so many calls. Yeah. You can only book so many coaching things. You can only make so much stuff. And if you have this mentality and this mindset of, it's almost like scarcity mindset. If you have this feeling of like, well, I just wanted to make sure that everything gets done right. I get that. We all feel that way. We all want the stuff to look good. We all want it to be done right. But you have to, at some point, learn how to relinquish that and trust.
Yes.
Trust in the process. Because if you don't, how the hell are you going to scale? You're not. That's the reality of it. And so you have to, at some point, embrace that. And so for us, like we have found, like, you know, and here's the thing too, being a workaholic, you have to also understand, like, what is it that you can control? What is it that you can do? And what is it that your partner, or maybe people that you work with or you contract, what is it that they can do for you? Because the other component of being a workaholic is that sometimes there's a control issue happening.
Yeah.
Let's be real. There's a control issue happening. And so if you feel that you need to do everything because you feel that that's the only way it's going to get done right, then there's something else going on. There's a rooted issue happening there. And you mean to tell me that in the rest of the entire universe, there's nobody else that can do it for you? Yeah. Because you're not going to be able to scale. You can't create more time if you're going to just try to do everything yourself. So if this is all about having this work balance, and sometimes, like, I don't like that word, but you know, even when you going back to the question of, you know, my family thinks I'm working too hard. You got to look at it from the perspective of what they're seeing. You may be passionate about what you're doing, but how is it affecting the relationships that you're involved in? Because you have a commitment to those people in your life. So anyways, do you have other stuff on the list that you have, that fabulous list?
I do. I do. But I want to kind of piggyback on what you just said here about, you know, hearing what your family has to say. I do believe that's true, but I have to put a caveat on this. When you're in alignment with your partner, your family, they're going to understand your passion. They're going to understand where you're coming from. Like, for instance, if my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, saw what I was doing today and how passionate I was, he would totally understand, because he was an entrepreneur, and the way he started was putting a lot of hours in, and that's how he had, you know, created a thriving business. And so he had boats, he had vacation apartments, he had all of these things, but he had them for his family, because he really didn't like to take vacations, but he knew that if he ever wanted to, he could get up and go to those places. But that wasn't necessarily his choice. But his family also knew that he loved to work. So my grandmother always said, well, I know my husband, and this is what this was what I got into. So having that understanding, I'm okay with it. So, it's not to say that you can't talk to your partner and say, hey, I'd like to spend some time with you, or, hey, can we carve out this time to spend blah, blah, blah. And that's why I do take a day during the weekend, because I think it is really important to nurture that relationship and to spend time with my significant other at least once a week, so,
yeah.
And we're working in the same place, for goodness sake, working on our home. So we see each other every day. So
thank God you have like multiple levels.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I'm going to get, I know. So, I know. So I'm going to get back to this list. So create a healthy support system, reach out to a mentor or sponsor, don't give up hope, and just make sure that you know that change takes time, and be willing to make that change and give it a good go, because changing habits, your original habits didn't happen overnight. They took time to establish. So it's going to take time to establish new habits. So when I look at what someone's calling a workaholic, I do not necessarily see it fitting into all of the criteria that I just mentioned. I do want to address the question, because this person who talked about this loves what they do, is passionate about their work, has found family telling them to take time off. Again, I do not see this as being a workaholic, but maybe someone that needs to create more of a, I'm going to use the word, balance in their life and make time for self-care. And I mean, like, even if you're working and you light a candle because you just want to feel more at ease and at peace, because, or play a little music in the background. These are little things that you can do to actually bring calmness, to bring serenity into your life. These are things that will help your wellness. Maybe bring down that blood pressure. Maybe every hour you get up and you do 5 minutes on the treadmill, like I have right next to me, right? So it's like, and
so proud of you.
Get up, and I got up early today and I did 2 miles on the treadmill, and I did a lot of stretching. Like, to me, that's important. And even though, it has benefits for me, it has a mental benefit for me. And that benefit is I can be more clear. It keeps me focused. All of these very awesome things. So, yeah. So exercise for me is a great part of my world. And it definitely is part of this woman's world. Right. And we just know, like, hey, Jen, question for you.
Yeah.
When you don't exercise, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel like crap.
And is it mental or physical or both?
It's both. It's definitely both. It physically, it feels, things feel off kilter, and then mentally there's this guilt, like because it's interesting, because sometimes people might, especially if you don't do it, you may view exercise or working out as only a purely physical thing, but really it's very mental. I mean, there's for me, it's like, if I don't do it, there's this guilt, there's this like, oh man. But I will also say, like, I've also learned how to release that guilt. Like, okay, there's times when I have an early live or an early interview, and I don't sleep early enough, like at 9 a.m., like I'm a third grader, like, I used to before I met my partner in summer, I used to be in bed by 9 p.m. Now I'm like, I'm going to bed like at 1 a.m, which is so uncharacteristic of me. And so it's like, there's times where I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to make it to the gym at 4. I used to go to the gym at 4:30.
Oh my God. I know, when I first met her, she was going to the gym at 4:30, going to church every, Friday or Saturday? Saturday. She had this routine, and it's like,
all derailed.
and I started getting off, then I started trying to get back on.
Because of these 2 most important people in my life, everything is derailed. These nighttime people.
Here's the thing, my circadian rhythm is like really set to the nighttime.
Summer needs her own time zone. It's not East Coast. She's like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. She needs her own time. Between DC and Europe, like the UK, Summer has her own time zone.
And my special lights, what are those called?
Yes.
Those, in Alaska, what are those called?
That's you.
So me. So, you got to figure out your rhythm. You got to figure out your process. I don't necessarily see this person being a workaholic, because the aholic part is something that's really critical to look at. But I do see that there might be a strategic problem, an efficiency problem. And maybe there's a problem with like just being able to say, I'm okay with taking time off. I'm okay with releasing, control over A, B, and C. I mean, even let's say me, it's like, I knew that we needed to go somewhere else with Life, Love, and Money. And so I needed to hire somebody to help us do that, to get us, different gigs and get us different things. So I released that because I need that help. I may need even a virtual assistant. Who knows? I mean, there's things that we need that we just need to say, okay, I can do this right now. I can do this for my health, my well-being, and my business, and for personal and professional growth. If we don't learn how to do this, we're going to stay static. We're going to stay in the same place. So, in relation to this question, in relation to this person, I've given you a guideline in relation to what you need to look at if it's an aholic problem versus just you work long hours and you're passionate. But if you work long hours and you're passionate, still take into consideration what those people are saying, and just think about, can I do things more efficiently? Can I take a little bit more time off? Can I take a little bit more time for my self-care? Because you really, as Jen said, you don't want to burn out. You really want to take time for yourself and to nurture your wellness, your healthcare, yourself. So, all right. I mean, we made it to the
nuggets.
Yeah, take us out. I just love that. That is so much fun.
It's super fun. Yeah. So my nugget of the day is just like, going back and reviewing in my mind all the things that Summer has talked about and what we've discussed on this episode. If you are in a situation where you have other people in your life, like a partner, your kids, or parents, whoever it is telling you that you're working too much, but you are looking at it from the perspective, but I love what I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you do need to question, okay, they're trying to communicate something with you. So do some introspection and think like, okay, how can I show up more intentionally in the lives of the people that are important to me? And I think that's so important for us to do sometimes, to just stop and realize like, okay, maybe I'm not spending enough time, because we as entrepreneurs, especially, we can get into this zone and we think like, I love this. Like I can do this for, 45 hours. It's like,
yeah,
right. Especially when you're so passionate and you love it, but we also have to think about the commitments that we've made to the people in our lives, whether it be our spouse, our partners, our children, our parents, friends, whoever it is. And so I want you to just take that time to think, okay, have I spent time with these people? Do I have an intentional schedule to spend with these people at least on a weekly basis? If you think doing it once a month is enough, it's not. Every week. Summer and I both have a routine where we intentionally spend the day or some part of the day with our significant others, and we're just like, okay, this is what we need. Because if you don't build that connection, you're gonna create other issues, and it's just not healthy. And so ask yourself, who are the people in my life that I need to build this connection with, and break away from the work. Even if it's your passion, her and I are very passionate about what we do, but we intentionally make the decision to break away and spend time, because we understand that that's super important too. It's not just about work. Again, I'm going to say it, even if you love it, even if it's a passion, because, unless you are like some single college student that has nobody else in their life, you don't live with your parents anymore, and you don't have any girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever the case, you don't even have a dog, have at it. Like, have at it. Like, if you want to spend 60 hours doing your passion, have at it. Yeah. But if that is not the case, and you have other people in your life that are super important to you. If they are important to you, you will realize how important this is to spend intentional time with them on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I love your nugget. Be intentional about what you're doing and thinking about the commitments that you've made with those that you love and how you're spending time with them. Love it, Jen. Love it.
Thank you.
My nugget is really consider creating networks around you, really supportive networks of people that are familiar with what it means to work long hours, what it means to be passionate about their job. And I say this because you can lean into those people and ask them questions about their process, about efficiency. You can look at what they're doing, and maybe you can incorporate some of those things into your life to make more time for those you love around you. Because I'm not saying to discredit or not listen to those people who are saying you work too much, you're doing this, you're doing that. What I'm saying is it might be helpful to tap into a system or of people that actually are doing something similar or like what you're doing, and look at their process. Ask them about how they spend time with their family. See if it's efficient and see if it's something that maybe you can integrate into your process so that you're really freeing up some time to make some time for your self-care as well as those around you and nurturing those relationships. There you go. That is
Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. All right. We did it. This is our 48th episode of the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen. We want to thank you. Jen and I both want to thank you for being here with us every week. If you don't catch this show at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you don't have time to catch the show, you can always catch us on our Life, Love, and Money Show page on Instagram at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is also 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can also catch us on our YouTube page. So if you've missed any of this, you can catch us on our YouTube page. If you want to throw that up there real quickly, Jen. And here's the thing, folks. We would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube page. And then also, there it is, the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen YouTube page. And if you can throw up our website, Jen, that would be really great, because the lifeloveandmoney.com, you can find links to all of our most recent articles that we've published. Jen and I are both international lifestyle writers as well, and we've published a ton of articles. So go there, check out our articles, check out I think we've been on the radio as well as TV. So check out some of those links. And if you have a question, please DM us your questions. We want to be here to answer your questions regarding life, love, money, and business if you're an emerging entrepreneur. All right, my friends. All right, Jen, thank you so much for joining us every week. And join us in 2 weeks and next week, because 2 weeks is going to be our 50th episode. All right, and our 1 year anniversary.
Woo! I cannot believe it.
I know.
It's amazing.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Take care.
Thanks for being here.
Ciao.
Thank you for watching the Life, Love, and Money Show with Summer and Jen. Dr. Summer Watson is the owner of the production and coaching company Core Women, LLC, is a doctor of psychology, has a depth of experience working in both for-profit and nonprofit in human services and mental health, is a professional coach, seminar host, documentary film producer, and an author. Jen Fontanilla is a former financial advisor and now a certified money coach, speaker, and has published 6 books. She has worked with organizations such as the Walt Disney Company, Warner Brothers, Target, Goodwill, and the U.S. Air Force. She loves working with women and helps them master their money and mindset to empower them to build the ultimate life without worrying about money. Join Summer and Jen every week as they go live on the Life, Love, and Money Show on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn.